If there's any general advice I would give based on the last month, it would be do not buy a new house during the busiest time of year. If it is your spouse's busiest work week of the year, maybe don't buy a house then. If you are going through a Kickstarter campaign for the new season of your show, maybe don't do that while trying to purchase a new house. This is all in retrospect, of course. We're through that series of hurdles, and now we are in our new house.
You're supposed to do a podcast.
I am doing a podcast.
You are?
Yes, you're my co-host.
Oh, okay.
So now we talk about the new house.
So, sometimes our playroom is kind of small, and I really do on my brain caress Workbook, but I wish that we could really have a big playroom someday in here.
Is that what you miss about the old house the most?
Yeah.
That we had the big downstairs room where I had the computer and you and your sister could play?
Yep.
What?
I was kind of sad about that.
Do you like the new house though?
Yeah, but I really wish that we didn't really have a small playroom.
Well, you do have a dedicated playroom now, which is nice. It's only for you and your sister. It's not a family room.
Stop!
What? No, we don't stop. We keep going.
Okay.
That was just the test recording.
Oh, the test recording.
Mm-hmm.
Your turn.
To do what?
Do a podcast.
We are doing a podcast. This is all one big, long podcast.
Oh, one big long one?
Yeah, so let's get back to what we were talking about the houses. Now, you and your sister decided you wanted to share a room in the new house.
But one time, Maya just said no.
Maddie said no, and so we wanted to make sure that you guys actually did. But you've been sharing the same room for a few weeks now. How does that work for you?
Yeah, it kind of works good, but yesterday my sister kept me awake last night.
Yeah, she doesn't like to go to sleep at night sometimes.
Nope.
Some nights she just wants to stay awake until Mommy gets here. And then she wants to see Mommy, and she's up until the wee hours. And then she was up again at 5:15 this morning.
Again!
I know, yeah.
And I was so bored about this.
And you're pretty tired, too.
And before last night, Bean woke me up at 5 a.m.
Bean is our cat, the little gray kitty with the hockey stick tail. And the kids, both of them love the cat very much. But Maddie, our 3-year-old, doesn't like it when Bean sits on her bed, even though she can't possibly fill up the entire bed herself. I remember one time last week, it was during Camille's auction week when I was soloing the kids. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I heard Maddie calling, "Daddy, Daddy!" And it sounded like she had a nightmare, so I run down the hall to your room. You're snoring up a storm because you can sleep through anything.
And then Maddie just woke me up, and I was like, "Ah!"
Yep. Not this time, though. This time you were sleeping like a zombie. And I got into the room, and Maddie was sitting up in bed, and it looked like she had a nightmare. And I said, "What is it, honey? What's the matter?" And she pointed to Bean, who was sitting at the foot of her bed, saying, "Bean is on my bed."
Yes!
So I shooed the cat out of the room, and Maddie
Shoo!
And Maddie followed me back and spent the rest of the night in our bed. So we've had a few nights of adjusting. In general, you guys are sleeping in the same room really well. You don't need to get that close to the recorder. So, how are you enjoying your summer vacation?
It's going good, but Daddy, I want to tell you something.
What do you want to tell me?
We're going to the cabin tomorrow.
I know, we're going to the cabin on the Oregon coast that we rent every summer.
And I just can't wait!
What is it you like about the cabin?
Well, don't we have a new cabin, or do we still have our old cabin?
Well, it's the same cabin we rented the last couple of years. It's part of our family tradition.
Well, I think I'm a little bit I think I'm happy about it, but I don't know what it's going to be like. And I don't remember what it looks like in the cabin.
Well, I think that when you get there, it'll be refreshed in your memory.
Do you think we should stop the recorder?
Sometimes I wonder if we should. But we're gonna soldier on through this.
So we do have a new oven and a new microwave, but our pantry's right there next to the microwave.
That is one of the nice new things about this house. It has
Why
a
is the
dedicated-
microwave still close to the pantry?
So that I can microwave stuff from the pantry without losing valuable steps, I guess. There's not much in the pantry that needs to be microwaved, though. Most of the stuff that needs to be microwaved lives in the fridge or the freezer.
Yeah, in the fridge or the freezer, whatever that could be. I just don't know what could be in the microwave that could be hot or in the oven.
So, normally at this time during the summer, instead of being home helping me with the podcast, you're actually at summer camp.
Yeah, but I'm not going there today.
Nope, no more summer camp for the last couple of weeks. How did you enjoy summer camp this year?
I was doing good.
What did you do there that you enjoyed?
I don't remember.
Well, that's convenient. And let's just move on to the next topic on our subject here.
Okay.
Let's see. We went over summer camp. We went over where are we going tomorrow. Oh, here's a question. What have you been doing this summer?
I've been working on my Brain Quest workbook.
That's a good one. Yeah, getting ready for second grade. Yeah. Do you feel ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready to go back to school?
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Now you ask me the same question.
what have you been doing this summer?
Thank you for asking. Well, mainly I've been, aside from, getting into the new house, and you've been helping me unpack all those boxes. That was fun and very helpful. You're actually to the point with chores now where it's not adding time to the task to have you participate in it. You're actually turning into quite the little helper. Hello? Are you there?
What are you reading?
Well, we haven't gotten to that section yet.
Oh.
I haven't answered this question yet, so why don't you ask again?
What have you been doing this summer?
Okay, so most recently, I've been working on the Elvish language.
Elvish language.
Not the Elvis language, that's much different. The Elvish language for the new season of Journey Quest.
Journey Quest.
That's that show that you can't watch that I work on. That funded recently, and we're getting ready. We're steaming towards production, which, a little bit of a tangent here, there are a whole host of new challenges that come with trying to film in Canada, of course, because we're doing basically a joint Canadian and American production team. We're going to be filming in British Columbia. I don't know all the details of that because I've had my head down over Elvish words and unpacking boxes for the last month.
Yeah, that was a lot of work.
Sure was a lot of work. Anyway, the language for the new season is complete. I sent the script to production this morning, including the Elvish primer that went out to the backers of the Journey Quest 4 campaign and an Elvish pronunciation guide. I've done the same thing for the actors who have to speak Orcish in the previous seasons of the show, which has, there's multiple lines. Here's the actual line in the script, which is how it will show up in the subtitles. Here's what the actor is literally saying in the fictitious language, and then below that is the language itself, and then followed by a phonetic pronunciation, so people can have a chance to practice it and get familiar with it.
Okay, now you ask me the question.
I'm not done answering my own question.
Oh.
Right, so that's part of it. Sent that off, and am still coining words for backers of Journey Quest 4. And I am still working on the Farther All World Bible. I am through the history section now. I am through the first round of backer-created lore as well.
Still on the Elvish dictionary.
Still working on that too. So many works in progress. I'm hoping to have it done by the end of September, really, because I have other things I need to get to, and I'm also experiencing a bit of project creep
Project creep.
Yeah, as the scope of things keeps getting larger, as I make new connections and histories and whatnot. Oh, wouldn't this make an interesting little epic side bit here? Oh, this is a really informative on the timing of when the Dark Elves came to the world. Oh, this is good for human and dwarven relations. I should add that bit to the history. There's got to be a point where I tell myself enough to turn it in. There's art that needs to be made, and you have other projects that you need to work on. So now let's move to the actual questions that you're so excited to ask.
Okay.
And you want to ask me the first question first before I ask you? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you ask me this one here, number 3.
What are you reading?
These days, I'm reading this book. 1 Square Inch of Silence.
Where did you leave off?
Right here where the bookmark is, actually. It's called 1 Square Inch of Silence, One Man's Quest to Preserve Quiet by Gordon Hempton and John Grossman. This was lent to me by your Uncle Jeff.
My Uncle Jeff.
And it was after I told him about a book I had previously mentioned in the podcast, Silence in an Age of Noise by Erling Kagge. And so not only was it related to that topically, but it's set in, sit down please, bottom on the stool, thank you, in the Pacific Northwest. So the Gordon Hempton is an acoustic audio engineer. Where is it? Here it is here. An Emmy-winning sound recordist and an acoustic ecologist. That's it. He goes into natural habitats and records the soundscape. Sound of the wind through the trees, the burbling of the rivers, the bird's song, any animal noises when the human noise presence is so low that, say, the elk come out or the squirrels are chattering in the underbrush, that sort of thing. And he's done this all over the U.S.
Over the U.S.
And has made some fascinating notes about how the characters of different rivers and whatnot sound depending on their age. That he says the older ones, the ones that have been running for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, have eroded their stones down to the point where the rivers almost seem to sing as the water goes over the stones, compared to the rivers and streams of this region, Pacific Northwest, which is very recent in its geography, which of course was carved up by the ice sheets in the last ice age, so you have larger rocks that are jutting out in places, and it's more cacophonous and more of a clanging sound in the river. It's just some fascinating
Now you
insights.
asked me the question.
I'm not done yet. I know it's boring, but I'm getting to it. Mostly adults listen to this podcast, okay? And anyway, he began this project called 1 Square Inch of Silence, which was his search for actual silence, a place you could go in the continental U.S. where the sounds of civilization would not intrude. The main one, of course, being air traffic. He went to part of the Olympic National Park, where we've been, one of the national parks there, and found in the Hoh Rainforest, which is the world's only temperate rainforest, this one area that he calls 1 Square Inch of Silence, which, to be fair, it's not completely silent. It's only a place where there's not going to be interruptions of jets and aircraft for every 15 minutes on average or so.
Got that.
Okay. So, because I see you're getting restless, what are you reading these days?
I was in the playroom using my Brain Quest workbook and playing a lot of new things in it.
What are you learning in your Brain Quest workbook?
I've been learning on phonics, spelling and vocabulary, reading and writing, cursive and language arts, math skills, addition and subtraction, multiplication and fractions, shapes and measurement, time and money, social studies, and science.
Very nice. Which of those topics is your favorite?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be a generalist. Do you know what you want to be when you grow up?
A teacher.
Do you know what subject you want to teach?
Math!
You want to be a math teacher, huh? That's great. You know, we come from a family of teachers and artists. What else have you been reading?
This book.
What's it called?
100 billion trillion stars.
Now, you know, this book was a gift from a friend of ours who's listening to the show. Her name is Paximo.
Paximo.
Thank you for the books, Pax.
Thank you for the books, Pax.
Did you like it? What's this book about?
It's about stars.
And how many there are in the heavens?
Yes, 100 billion trillion.
Is that an exact count?
Well, we can't really count all the way to 100 billion trillion.
I imagine that is true.
I'll read it to you.
I don't think we're allowed to do that. But it is a pretty cool book, and I'd like to read it later.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question now. What are you watching?
Well, I was playing Mario Kart.
That's one that we come to later. What are you playing? How about instead, because you don't really watch TV much more.
No.
What are you listening to?
I was listening to Gangnam Style on Alexa.
Mm.
What were you listening to?
Is that your favorite song?
Yeah, but what were you?
Alexa, be quiet.
What
And that's the Kids Bop Kids version, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not the Psy version. Which I think it's kind of fun that you're listening to that over and over and over again, because when you were little, that's one of the videos we would show you to quiet you down when you were overwhelmed. Yes, we would show you the world's first billion views garnering music video to get you to calm down.
I was so bored. I was so happy about that.
Yeah. And recently you used to listen to Old Town Road a lot. That's a good... Do you like that song still, too?
Yeah, but what have you been listening to?
Well, mostly I listen to a Pandora station. I base around a Canadian acoustic guitarist named Don Ross. I like acoustic guitar music, and there's a lot of artists on there. Phil Kiggy, Tommy Emmanuel, Andy McKee, Kaki King, and a California guitar trio, Bella Fleck. I prefer music without lyrics to it, and acoustic guitar, bluegrass, that sort of thing. If there are lyrics in the music, I have trouble not listening to the songs, and it pulls my attention away from the work. But that kind of background music helps set an atmosphere that I'm comfortable doing most of my writing in. So that's what I listen to. All right, moving on now. What are you playing?
I was playing Mariocart 8 Deluxe.
Is that your favorite video game?
Yes.
You've been playing a lot of that.
What have you been playing on the Nintendo Switch?
Well, I have a few more questions for you first about Mario Kart 8. What do you like about it?
Racing.
Racing? Yeah, that is kind of the core gameplay there. Mm-hmm. And you started just doing time trials, right?
Mm-hmm. But 100 cc's, 150 cc's, and then 200 cc's are just too hard.
Too hard for time trials?
Yep.
Yeah. But
I just like 50. But I'm done doing Grand Prix.
You're done doing Grand Prix? Why is that?
I can't really win the Banana Cup or the Lightning Cup.
But you did win the Star Cup.
Yep.
You got 3 stars in the Star Cup.
Mm-hmm. But I can't win 2 cups.
You just keep trying. And you got to remember, you do sometimes need to be aggressive. You know, when you get the different shells and bombs and stuff, throw them at other racers. That's the whole part of the game. They're going to keep hitting you with things like lead shells and lightning bolts. So you might as well hit them with them too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could be, but...
You do like the battles,
It's
too.
the same thing in the battles about that.
Yeah, but you've been winning a couple of battles too, right?
Yep, I could have been. But do you want to stop recording now?
I've just got a few more questions to get through.
Okay.
You're doing great. Your endurance and attention so far.
But we're doing so many questions.
We're doing so many questions. Yes, we
I
are.
wish we could stop doing so many questions.
You're the first guest who wished to leave the show halfway through a recording episode. I do not expect you will be the last. Or you tickle. Okay. All right, we're almost done. You wanted to ask me... Oh, one final question. Do you have any favorite characters in Mario Kart? Do you like to play...
I love all the characters.
You are a loving child.
Even me.
Yeah, the version of you that you made to play?
Yeah.
Wesley racing around on the track?
It's zero.
Do you have any favorite bikes or tires or...
I like the Master Cycle Zero, Ancient Tires, and the glider that I like is the Super Glider.
So you heard it here, folks. Master Cycle Zero.
Yes.
Ancient Tires.
Yes.
Super Glider for Mario
Yes.
Kart 8 Deluxe.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I choose different things.
But those are your favorite?
Mm-hmm.
But you like all of the racers. You like all the characters equally. But you like that bike and tire set the most.
Yeah.
All right.
So what were you playing on the Nintendo Switch?
I haven't really been pardon me, I haven't really been playing much for the last couple of weeks.
But
ever
what
since
game
the
were
move.
you playing last time?
The Legend of Zelda.
The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. What characters are there?
Well, that one pretty much you can only play as Link.
Only Link.
Yes.
Remember that there's also Link on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's right.
There are 2 Links on Mario Kart.
Blue Link and Green Link.
Blue Link is a shrine.
He's a shrine?
Yeah, Blue Link has a shrine.
The Sheikah Slate, you mean?
The Sheikah Slate, and if you press L, if he has no mushrooms, you hear this sound.
You know, if you press L when you have gear, like shells or bananas, that's what shoots them at other drivers.
Only if you're doing Grand Prix or Battle.
That's right.
Or Versus.
Or versus, yeah.
Versus is kind of hard because you have 2 players.
Yeah, and we only have 1 controller.
Only 1 controller.
Well, I have to say, you've been doing really well. I saw when you first started on time trials, you just kept bumping into the walls and falling off of jumps and everything, and now you're doing it really well.
Yep.
Well, practice makes perfect. Anyway, I've been playing The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but not for the last couple of weeks.
And you got shot by many guys, and you got dead a lot. What?
That's funny. It's true. I'm not nearly as twitchy as I used to be.
Well, Link did get dead 2 times when you played that.
I am. This is. You are. Are you trolling me?
Well, when I was watching you play The Legend of Zelda, I saw 2 X's.
Those are where Link dies. Yes, and it's my fault. I don't have the reaction time. Oh, you don't. Thank you for laying a hand on my arm. It's I don't have the reaction time that I used to when I was younger, but I did go ahead and get the strategy guide. So I'm going to go around, and when I have time, this is not a very high priority. One of the reasons I want to get the world guide done is so I can actually play on this game again.
Yeah.
Is go around, get all the other shrines. You know how many shrines there are in this game?
No.
120.
120 shrines?
Yep. So
that is a lot.
If I can get enough hearts, then I can draw the Master Sword, and maybe then I can go and beat Thunderblight Ganon.
Yeah, but you can't beat him yet because you don't have a lot of hearts yet.
I don't have enough.
So you need more hearts.
Thank you for the advice.
You're welcome.
All right, now we get into our final questions.
Final question.
So you read who the question is from, and then you read the question. So read that out loud.
From Linkmaster General. Has it ever been addressed how Lodge prevents the Gamers Massacre and yet has no memory of when talking with Mark and the Gamers Darkness Rising?
So has it ever been addressed how Lodge survived the Gamers Massacre? Lodge wasn't present at the Gamers Massacre. Lodge was casual friends with the Game Master, the unnamed Game Master from the original the Gamers, and just borrowed the character. He did not know about the massacre, is my answer. All right, let's go to the next one.
From Red. Can you tell us about the biggest Film/writing win and fail? Something that better you can tell have hopped.
Something that went better than you could have hoped.
And was a surprise one that failed so hard that you surprised that it didn't light on fire?
I think the biggest surprise is still the original Gamers. Like, we made that. I did not think that would be anything other than something I, took out of the closet every year or so and showed to my friends about here's a silly thing I did in college over a few weekends with my friends. I did not expect it to lead to where it has, to a feature version of the movie and to acclaim in the industry, to a fan base, to go into film school, and to it being a career. So that I don't know that anything will ever match that surprise. The biggest fail, though, man, I think it's still going to be the zombie TV show that we pitched with Epic Level. And I think I've mentioned this before. The show was called Alive. The year was 2008, and I was introduced to and really hit it off with a pair of writers from Star Trek. They're senior story editors on Star Trek Enterprise. and ghost authors on a number of the Star Trek novels. They'd done a ton of animation as writers and staff writers. Then they were a married couple, Judith and Garfield Reeves Stevens, and we took this idea that we had for a post-zombie apocalypse survival show, and managed to find Canadian financing at our very first meeting. And then it was just a matter of finding an American broadcaster, a network that would show the episodes. And we got very close to actually landing it on AMC, which ultimately picked up The Walking Dead. But it failed in one of the last meetings. I really thought that was going to be something. And then, of course, a year later, AMC picks up The Walking Dead, which is a licensed property and was fantastic and kind of filled the niche of zombies on television. So I do miss that still. We got close, but I don't know that it would have had the same impact or reach as Walking Dead. But still was a surprise because we got so far only for it to collapse at the end, which can happen in this industry.
So I have more questions.
Okay, read it towards the microphone. There we go.
From Rival. Now, all of the ages of Fartherall have in their history...
Have had their histories written.
Have had histories written. So you intend to set stories in the agents we haven't seen yet?
One of the really fun little things that's happened in putting the World Guide together for Fartherall is discovering all these cracks between the places, the events I knew had happened that are being filled, some by necessity and some by mystery, and they're all ones I'm really curious in exploring. So yes, I think stories set in the unexplored times of Fartherall are on the horizon. What form those will take, as an anthology or whatnot, or a series or novels, I don't really know yet. One thing I've thought about is, maybe I should be doing short fiction as the monthly fictions on Patreon, something exclusive there, but that's not really a format I've ever played in or felt comfortable in. I could experiment with it, though, in my copious spare time. Maybe an aspiration for the future. But yes, I do expect to play more with the unexplored eras of Fartherall's history.
From Link Master General. Under the shared cinematic universe
license
agreement, fans are free to create within the gamers in JQ Omniverse for fun and profit. What's something you would be excited to see fans create?
Honestly, anything. I'd like to see what the fans come up with for filling in some of those loose gaps in the histories. One thing I think I mentioned this in the last couple podcasts. The history sections, though they're pretty substantial, they're light on actual specifics, like names of leaders and important historical figures. We'll talk about a war or a cultural movement, but not all the exact cities where it took place and who the leaders of such things were, specifically so that we could fill that stuff in later. If fans want to take a gander at what's happening, where are the actual battles in the war for Orkdom or the Eldritch Reformation, have at it. I'm also excited to see what the fans want to come up with themselves. I think it's been so surprising because I've done now between coining Orcish words, creating Orcish clans, creating Elvish words, and the backer rewards for heroes and organizations from the Fartherall World Bible. I have never been disappointed in fan creativity and what they're coming up with, and a lot of times it inspires me to make the stuff fit a little bit better and say, oh wow, that's really insightful on these people or in this bit of history. I'm going to make that canon now, or I'm going to build some support structures narratively into this bit. So the stuff that's good resonates, and I think it's because people are, I have my own kind of blinder view on the world and its history, but I'm looking at it as the creator and not as a fan, and not trying to figure out how things connect from an outside perspective. So if people put in a bunch of thought and something makes sense to them that they're really excited about and actually does make sense from that perspective, and I don't have a plan for that specific bit of lore, why not include it? Because it's well thought out and well supported.
I have 2 more questions.
All right, then you can get back to Mariocart.
From Paxamo. Do you prefer writing scripts or novels?
Oh, I mean, they both have their challenges and their rewards, but most recently I've been preferring writing novels. Because
Why?
Because you have so much more creative license there, you know? I don't have to worry about how long it's going to take to get extras through makeup. I don't have to worry about how many days of production we have to jiggle around if I'm trying to fit in one more location that we don't see elsewhere, you know? I also like the flexibility of you being able to get inside characters' heads in a novel and better illustrate what they're thinking. I mean, you can't really in a screenplay, because you're only supposed to communicate what can be seen and what can be heard. You can't really do deep dives and tangents away from perspective or point of view in a scene, whereas you can do a bit more of that in novels. And I'm finding that freedom pretty exciting. I'm getting to paint with a few brushes that you just don't really fit on the canvas of the screenplay, to mix my metaphors. All right, one more, buddy.
From Rob, what is your favorite work of whatever sort that is yet to see the light of day?
Grandmother Clock.
Okay.
Grandmother Clock it started as a screenplay. It was the first screenplay I wrote outside of film school, and it actually I optioned it to a friend of mine, producer, and it got read under the table at a few places. And then we made a number of sort of side steps on development, but it didn't ever break into officially getting read at places. And I think that's good, because I've wanted to take it back and write it as a novel, and I do figure it'll be one of the novels I work on in the future. The reason I haven't really gotten into it yet is it's so tonally different than anything I've done before. You know, everything I've done before has been comedic and fantastical. And even though with The Stray and the Hole in the Stars and some of the later seasons of Journey Quest, the shading has taken on some darker colors, Grandmother Clock is a dark sort of children's fantasy that I wrote to deal with the grief of the loss of a family member I love very much. Your grandmother, in fact, who you never met. Grandma Karen.
Okay, that's all the questions.
That is all the questions.
Do you want to play Legend of Zelda now?
I think that would be a lot of fun. Will you help me?
Yes, I'll turn on the TV.
Well, wait, we have to say goodbye first. We'll come back here. All right. Hi, thanks for listening to Coddiwomple. I am your host, Matt Vancil, and this is my co-host,
Wesley.
Bye.